שלא יחד בלבו ומדולייני לחלסייני שלא יחד בלבו ומדולייני לחלסייני איי 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 אלו שבכל דוי ודוי אוי דמולייני לחלסייני איי 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 אלו שבכל דוי ודוי אוי דמולייני לחלסייני
Hello everyone, we're up to event number 7, and that is, what are we going to use for Lechem Mishneh Friday night, Shabbos morning, and maybe even at Shalosh Shudas? We have an obligation on Shabbos to eat meals with bread, at least 2 out of the 3. What should we use? The simplest answer would be, let's use matzah. The house is already kosher for Pesach, though a day early. Let's use matzah. Here's the problem. There's a Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi says, Ha'ochel matzah be'erev Pesach, whoever eats matzah on the eve of Pesach, keba ala rusato beveit chamiv. It's like someone that berothed a woman, said hareat mekudeshetli, gave her a ring, and then without sheva brachas and a ketubah, began to live with her. Obviously, that's not halachically okay. We wait till the Seder night, and then, after saying at least 7 brachot, as it is the case with a chatan and a kala, so too, we say 7 brachot at the Seder, and eventually eat the matzah. That being the case, it seems like, if there's a Yerushalmi, matzah is out of the question. But not so simple. The Tosfot Reed says that with the greatest respect, this is a Yerushalmi. The Bavli said explicitly, at the beginning of the 10th perek of Masechet Psachim, that on Erev Pesach, Somuch lemincha, half an hour before Mincha Ketana, Lo yochal adam ad shetechshach. A person shouldn't eat anything grain-based until it gets dark. Quite frankly, since we're dealing with what we shouldn't eat, then the Mishnah should have said something about, and you also can't eat matzah from the morning. Since it didn't, since the Gemara didn't, basically the Tosfot Reed says there's no problem to eat matzah on the eve of Pesach, and ultimately, probably at his house, that's what he did. But the Rob Ruvam Shel HaPoskim, the majority of the Poskim disagree and have poskin this lahalacha. This is the psak of the Tosfot. The Tosfot indeed asks about that famous Mishnah. Arvei psachim, samuch lemincha, lo yochal adam ad shetechshach, asks the Tosfot, V'im tomar ma lo yochal, what exactly can he eat? Matzah, if we're talking about matzah, hafilu kodem nami asur. Matzah is forbidden earlier than in samuch lemincha, a half an hour before mincha ketana. Kedamrinan by Yerushalmi, like the Yerushalmi says. This is also the psak of the Rambam that says explicitly asru chachamim lechol matzah be'erev Pesach. And this is the psak of the Ramah saying that you're not allowed to eat matzah the entire day before Pesach. So the bottom line is, we do not eat matzah on the eve of Pesach. The only question is, when does the eve of Pesach start for this prohibition? The Ramban says it starts from the evening, so even Friday night is out. The Igrod Moshe of Moshe Feinstein actually says something very, very interesting. He says that this year it starts from Friday night, since we got rid of all our chametz basically before Shabbos. This particular year, it starts from the evening. However, the Ramah says that you're not allowed to eat it from the morning. That is the way the Mishnah Brura understands him. And the Baal Amar has an interesting take, and he says it's later. It's from Chatzot, from the time you bring the Korban Pesach. That's the time that you can eat matzah. Namely, for the Baal Amar, it's no problem to eat matzah Friday night or Shabbos morning. The only problem we'll have is Shalosh Shudas. But, as you could see, at least 3 out of the 4 that I quoted, namely the Ramban, Rav Moshe Feinstein, and the Ramah says you can't eat matzah for the 2 meals. The Ramah would say at least not for the meal in the morning. The Igrod Moshe and the Ramban would say even from the evening. That being the case, what are we going to use for Lechem Mishneh? There were 2 little suggestions that were made that maybe we could use matzah after all. One was Rav Ovadia Yosef. Mishneh Berurah says that if you take matzah and you cook it, as we do with knedalach, then it's okay to use, and to use it up until the 9th hour of the day. Elijah Yosef suggested that the only matzah you can use is matzah that's kosher for the Seder, namely matzah that's baked. So what should you do? You should take the baked matzah, put it into the chicken soup pot for at least 2 minutes while it's boiling, and then you don't have what we call baked matzah, you have cooked matzah, which you can't use for the Seder, and anything you can use for the Seder would be okay to use the Shabbos before, and that's what you should make a motzi on Friday night, Shabbos morning, even at Shabbos up until what's called the 9th hour of the day. Not everyone agreed with this. At the end of the day, it is matzah. At the end of the day, it looks like matzah, so it was cooked for only 2 minutes, and at the end of the day, not many agreed with him. The Sharat Siyum brings that the Chayei Adam did actually say this, but he says that the Magen Avraham says this is not our minhag, and the Gra understands in the Rambam that it is still matzah per the prohibition of eating it on Erev Pesach. And finally, there was another suggestion made by Rav Zolti, who was the chief rabbi of Yerushalayim. He says the whole problem of eating matzah is that you're eating matzah that's kosher for the Seder. So he had a great suggestion. Let's eat matzah and make it not kosher for the Seder. Namely, we'll bake matzah and we'll say it's not l'shem matzat mitzvah. It is not for the sake of the Seder, and that should be the matzah we eat for Shabbos. Rav Ovadia Yosef contemplated it and said it might be okay b'sha'at adchak if you have no choice. Many didn't accept this point of view for a number of reasons. Number one, it goes to the reason why we can't eat matzah on the Erev Pesach. The Rokeach says it's because it says ba'erev tochlu matzah, only eat matzah at night, and it's not night yet. If that was the case, then maybe you can't even eat it during the day, but that's only matzah that you eat at night for the mitzvah. This is matzah that was baked not for the mitzvah. However, the Rambam says for a different reason. It should be noticeable that you're eating it at night for the mitzvah. That's the case, something that looks like matzah, smells like matzah, and actually tastes like matzah, obviously would not be a good idea to eat because the heker part would be decayed. And therefore, it wouldn't work according to that reason. And for sure, it wouldn't work according to the Meiri. The Meiri says that the reason that you can't eat matzah on the eve of Pesach is achilat matzah b'chol hayom mechu'ara davar. It's disgusting. Shemishum te'avon emra. It's in order to arouse your tummy, you arouse your taste towards the evening of eating matzah. So if you taste matzah during the day, even if it was baked shalol l'shem mitzvah, at the end of the day, you won't have that same appetite towards the evening. And even Rav Ovadia Yosef concedes that at the end of the day, if it tastes like matzah, even if it wasn't baked l'shem mitzvah, you can't eat it on Erev Pesach. There was another reason why it wasn't accepted. Maybe for the Seder, it's good enough to have shmura matzah that we guard it from chametz. You didn't need to bake it l'shem mitzvah. That would be exactly Rabbi Zolti's matzahs, and therefore it wouldn't help. So at the end of the day, the matzah idea might be okay Friday night, according to the Balamor, the Rosh, the Meiri. It would also be okay Shabbos morning up until the 6th hour of the day, up until midday. But according to the Ramah, it would not be okay from the morning, and according to the Ramban and Rav Moshe Feinstein, it wouldn't be even okay Friday night. So the matzah option seems to be out, and therefore we have to look for other ways of eating Lechem Mishneh, God willing, this Shabbos. More about that tomorrow.